It's LSB and JJ the DJ. You know us. Do it throughout this whole episodes with the NBA playoff prediction, and this is the last episode. Why is it the last episode, JJ?
Man, I wish it wasn't. I wish these playoffs could go on forever, but unfortunately, they do have an end, and we are at that time. It's the finals, the last series for a champion to be crowned in 2020, and I'm excited for it.
Yeah, man. I mean, we all wanted the battle for LA. We didn't get that. We all wanted Boston versus Celtics rematch of the Showtime Lakers versus the Celtics of old, but we didn't get that. No one expected this matchup. It's the Miami Heat, the fifth seeded Miami Heat in the East versus the number one seeded Los Angeles Lakers.
Mm.
I know we both are very happy about the Heat making it, but like no one really expected this. I mean, we were doing really well. Regardless of how it went, the season was a success. But now we're in the finals, so why not try to win this? You know? I mean, it's going to be a tough task because a LeBron James led team is not easy, especially with that young gun Anthony Davis, who this is his first finals, especially after being in New Orleans and barely making it out of the first round. Now he's getting that taste of the finals, and we're about to see game one. Like, I'm really excited to see this game. And it's going to be interesting to see how the Heat play against LeBron. Because me and you both know LeBron played with the Heat for 4 seasons. We captured 2 chips. We could have had 3, but you know that the Dallas Mavericks series, they deserved it. Dirk and all them boys, they went off. So I'll have to excuse that for LeBron. But you know, he did really well for us. We ultimately thought that he would have re-signed, but he went home for a couple of seasons, and now he's in LA, and he has a chance to win another chip with 3 different franchises. But you know, I feel like Eric Spoelstra has been planning for this matchup for a long time because he's been very underrated, JJ. A lot of other coaches or analysts have been, I guess, underappreciating what he's done. They're like, oh, he had Wade, he had Bosh, he had LeBron, but he had to go through a rough patch, and they were struggling a bit. Last season, we completely missed the playoffs. The Lakers missed the playoffs as well, so that was an interesting thing that 2 teams that didn't make the playoffs last year play in the finals. Like, how often does that happen? But, you know, Eric Spoelstra, I think he's a Class A coach. I think he's going to do very well this series. I think we got Andre, we got Jay Crowder. There was a statistic out there saying that when LeBron is guarded by either Jay Crowder, Andre Iguodala, or Draymond Green, that he shoots a little bit over 40%. So I mean, 40% isn't bad, but I mean, that just shows that those guys can play some defense and make the king work for his buckets. So I think that Jay Crowder and Andre Iguodala are going to be a very big key in this series. We all know the baby goat. He's not afraid of anything. I think he's going to have a big finals. I think Jimmy Butler is also going to have a big finals because this is his first one. And, you know, when you get there once, it's very hard for you to get back there. And I'm not trying to sidetrack a little bit, JJ, but it's like crazy how our Heat legend, Dwayne Wade, retired last season, and then they make it to the finals this year. And he always talked about how he wanted to play LeBron in the finals or in the playoffs in general. And we could have had that if he stayed one more season, man. It's just a little disappointing.
Yeah, I hear you. That's definitely something crazy to think about. But before, I don't know if you had more to say, but one thing I wanted to add, because you talked about how underrated Eric Spoelstra is as a coach.
Mm-hmm.
And we saw something, I don't know if you saw, but I saw something with Doc Rivers being let go.
Yeah.
And when I thought about this, it's easy for us to say, it's easy. It should be easy for these coaches to, coach superstar guys, but not everybody can coach superstar guys or regular NBA guys. It's
Mm-hmm.
not as easy as we think it is, to be, because Doc had Kawhi and Paul George, but if you don't know how to coach, like if you don't know how to coach two guys like that, it could end up the system that you tried to play with those guys could end up not working in your favor, as it
Yep.
did with the Clippers, because they had all that talent. You could say that about the Celtics too. I mean, Brad Stevens is a good coach. Now, I'm not saying he deserves to lose his job or anything, but when you're playing a team that is led by a good coach, that good coach can kind of outcoach you a little bit,
Mm-hmm.
because I definitely think, even though Boston had better talent than us, I think our coach coached our team better than Brad coached his team. You
Right.
know what I mean? It's so that is something to watch, because both these coaches can coach very well. Obviously, Frank Vogel has coached the Lakers to, I think, the top defense in the NBA,
Mm-hmm.
and we're top 5 in defensive rating.
Right.
So that in itself is going to be an interesting dynamic to keep track of, is just how these teams defend each other.
Right.
Um, I want to mention, I want to add that a lot of people on Miami, are, I think, making their first finals appearances. I think only a few guys have, probably, well, only one guy, except Udonis Haslam has been to the
Yeah.
finals before, and that is Iguodala, who's making his 6th straight trip to the finals. By the way, keep that in mind. He's been
Yeah.
there 5 times with the Warriors, and this is his 6th. But I just find it interesting that, on Miami, you have so many guys that, this would be, their first trip to the finals. I mean, you have that a little bit on, Los Angeles, but, you have Dwight Howard been to the finals before. A lot of
JR.
people forget that Dwight Howard's been to the finals before.
Mm-hmm.
It seems it's been so long ago, but, even though he lost, he does have that experience. J.R. Smith, as you mentioned.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, who else? JaVale McGee has 2 rings with the Warriors.
Danny
Uh,
Green.
yeah, Danny Green with Toronto and San Antonio. LeBron, of course, we know that. So I'm just interested to see if that doesn't have a lot to do with this. I mean, I know it's a bubble is different from, you see how important home court is, during the finals, typically during this time. But, the bubble, of course, changes that. But now I want to see if, that finals experience doesn't separate, the teams a little bit. Because, for Jimmy Butler, and the person that I believe is, for Miami, is the most important person in this series,
I already
I'm
know.
I'm still looking at Bam Adebayo.
Mm-hmm.
I think Eric Spoelstra has to unleash the Bam a little bit here. I think whatever he has in the tank has to be let go now, because I think, like you said, the Heat have capable, guys to guard LeBron. I'm not saying any of them can stop LeBron. I'm
Yeah.
saying they're capable
Down.
enough to at least, get in his way. But when I look at Bam, I feel like as I said I believe, as I said in the Boston series, Bam is, I believe, the only thing that will give Miami a chance to not only win this, but make it competitive even. Because if you don't have something to stand in the way of AD's warpath, I just don't. When I look at Miami, I just don't know who else they're putting on him if Bam can't do it. You know what I'm saying? Uh, Bam does play a lot of center for Miami, so the Lakers do have Dwight and JaVale, but somebody has to be that blockage in AD's way. If
I think they're
not,
So my bad for cutting you off. I was gonna say I think what Eric Spoelstra might have been doing, because I was surprised that they didn't play him, but like you were saying, Bam is like the one big body that we've consistently seen, and we expect him to guard AD. But I think that Eric Spoelstra may just surprise us and actually play Myers Leonard. I'm surprised he hasn't played, and they have like a lineup at is him as power forward or him as center and Bam at power forward. So if they play Myers Leonard, I think that would definitely be a big boost. And he's like a high impact guy on the bench, like you've seen him cheering on the team. And when he gets hot, he gets hot. He's experienced in the playoffs with the Blazers. He hasn't been to the finals, but I think that he would be a good, I guess, plug in for that matchup to kind of make it more interesting, because I don't see Olynyk being able to stop Anthony Davis. I think Myers Leonard could put a good effort to trying to stop him until Bam gets off the bench, or they switch it up a little bit, put Iguodala in at power forward, then Bam at the center spot. So yep, definitely they have to figure out how to stop AD. I think that a lot of people are underestimating the Bam versus AD matchup. A lot of people are saying that AD is more polished and that he's a very talented player. He's very talented, but like what we've been seeing from Bam, not a lot of bigs can do. And one last thing I wanted to say is the coaching is definitely going to be a big key. Eric Spoelstra has always had the advantage over Frank Vogel when he was the Pacers head coach, and this is Vogel's first finals. So it's going to be interesting how he manages this one. I mean, he does have two of the greatest players in the world on his team, but sometimes great coaching can beat great players. So I didn't get a chance to say my prediction, and I'm curious about yours. But I predict, and I'm going to ride it while it's hot, I'm going to say the Heat win this in 6. I wouldn't be disappointed either way if the Lakers somehow win. Of course, I'd be sad, but I just feel like this is a special season that you only get one chance at it, so why not this year? And I think the Heat will definitely capitalize on it. And like I said about Iguodala and Crowder, Butler will not back down from the challenge of guarding LeBron James, and he's made LeBron work for it when he was on the Bulls or when he was on the Sixers. Like he's made LeBron work. So I pick Miami to win this. I mean, it may be more of a heart than logic pick, but I got to go with it. I said last series when you picked Boston, I was like, I just have a feeling that this Heat team is going to win in the 6, and they ended up winning in 6. So I'm going with my pick, man. How about you?
Man, man, it's a lot. It's it. I have looked at like 10 different picks for this series, and I keep going back and forth on them because literally so much can happen, and
Yep.
I feel like predicting is always hard to do, and like until you've actually seen what these two teams look
Yeah, it's like
like.
a double-edged sword. Like you don't know what you get until you see it.
Because I feel like game one, as with most series, will tell a lot. It will paint a much clearer picture after seeing how the teams look against each other in one game. Um, But when I look at trying to predict this one, I definitely think whatever team, shoots better from outside will definitely control this series. And, rebounding as well will be a big thing because we do know the Lakers are the bigger team, I would say.
Hmm.
So you think that would favor them in the rebounding battle, but I think Miami will be okay with the rebounding battle being close.
Right.
If it's like the Lakers might out rebound us, but if it's like closer than not, then I think Miami will accept that. Um, but it like you, I mean, I have like a heart pick, and then I have like a logic pick what my brain is telling me. So my heart pick says that I think Miami I think it'll go 7 games because I think defeating a LeBron James team is very hard to do. But I think that, you know, as far as our 3-point shooting options, the Lakers have guys that can make them every once in a while. But Tyler Hero's been shooting well. Dragic has been shooting well. Jimmy Butler, who's not known for 3-point shooting, has been making them pretty well in the playoffs. And
Yeah.
then you have Duncan Robinson and Crowder can hit them. I
And
think
he hit 4 of them.
Iguodala went 4 for 4 from three in the last game.
Mm-hmm.
So I just think shooting wise, I just think we have more of a chance. So I'm gonna say my heart is saying 4-3 Miami, because the Lakers only getting 2 games doesn't seem possible to me. But I also I also wouldn't be surprised if it could go 7 the other way with LeBron pulling it out. So it's very confusing. But I think Miami has a chance here.
So your final pick is Miami.
Miami in 7. That's what I'm
All right.
going.
All right, you've heard it, guys. We both pick Miami. We both can be completely wrong, or we both can be completely right. So it's just a matter of wait and see. Game 1 is almost upon us. Thank you for watching all the predictions, and we made it to the finals. And I hope you guys enjoyed the series. And I know a lot of people didn't expect this series, but it's going to be exciting and it's going to be interesting. And I hope you guys enjoy it. And thanks for seeing our journey of being prediction whizzes, I guess. At the end of the finals, I'm gonna put up a tally about like how we did. JJ definitely beat me a lot, but it's not a competition. We tried to see how we were, and it was fun. It definitely was fun, and I'm thankful. I'm thankful for JJ being a part of this, and I'm looking forward to future plans with JJ.